Where does the music journey begin? I suspect it begins when I lived in Northumbrian, and my mother made me and my brother have piano lessons.
How old were you then?
6.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit younger, and we hated it. There was no discussion beforehand about having piano lessons. My parents weren't particularly musical, or so I thought, and it was like there's nobody in the family played a musical instrument, and we had piano lessons and we hated it, and we kept expressing this: we don't like piano lessons. Don't like it. Playing tunes that I didn't like, had no connection to. And after telling our mother several times that we didn't want to have piano lessons anymore and being ignored, my brother and me got an axe and a hammer, and we took the piano to bits. Literally to bits. The bits that we could break, we broke. The ones that we couldn't, we didn't, and we stacked this piano in bits in the front room. My mother went ballistic. So following on from that, sort of the next connection with music was when I was at junior school in Northumbrian. They did a Easter, I suppose you'd call it Passion, Easter play.
Yeah.
It's Easter, so it's not a nativity. So
I
anyway,
think it would be Passion, yeah.
Yeah, and the whole village, I mean literally the whole village was involved in this. And because we had recorder lessons at school, I guess the term beforehand involved everybody learning the same tune on recorders.
Yeah.
Went to Warbottle School, didn't do music at Warbottle School, and in 1968 when I was 14 I moved to Essex and had music. It was a third year, so we go into the music lesson, and I had no experience of music at all, and
Other than breaking up a piano.
rather than destroying instruments,
Musical deconstruction, let's call it.
and playing the recorder, and went into music lessons and wanted to learn to play the saxophone because I always loved the sound of the saxophone. And the music teacher, Mr. Cole, and asked if I could play a saxophone, and he said, no, don't have saxophones. Flute's like a saxophone. And I'm going, no, it's not. And it's like, no, it's not. But I suppose I could learn. Maybe it is like a saxophone. So I had a flute, which I shared with a guy called Martin Lamb, who was a year younger than me. And it wasn't like a saxophone. No matter how you look at it, the fingering was like, I mean, first of all, it's up here.
I was going to say, it doesn't have a reed from what I remember.
Yeah. So, and it was all wrong, and I should have just packed it in. And then Martin, who I shared this with, sat on it, on a chair. And that,
musical deconstruction is the theme.
Yeah. So that was kind of school, my experience at school with music. Wouldn't say it was brilliant. Didn't come away with any kind of knowledge of how we explain the historic development of musical styles or any of that. And went off to college to study drama and geography.
Lovely.
It was at Huddersfield Polytechnic. But once a week we would have a music lesson, listening to music over a couple of beers, and he would encourage me to reflect on the difference between the different styles. Very simple introduction. But Alan, my father-in-law, he had an album called Folk on Two, which was quite significant because Folk on Two did a Northumbrian album in 1966, I think it was, or 68, that kind of period. And it was a collection of music. And I found this in his collection and played it. And that was the first time I could remember hearing Northumbrian pipes. I found out that I had a friend who had another friend who knew Adrian Schofield.
Oh, right, yes.
So I went down to see Adrian Schofield in Bolton.
Play?
No,
Just to see him?
Just to say hello, basically.
Right, all right.
I mean, it was pipes really teachers, basically. Plucked up courage to do it. And it was like, I gather you teach people Northumbrian small pipes. Yeah. And he's very terse, Adrian, at the time. Doesn't commit to anything. Yep. would you be prepared to give me lessons? Yep. Well, I have to see how you play first before I give you lessons. Okay. Fine. Have you got your pipes with you? No, I haven't. Do I need my own pipes to learn? Yes. But I thought I could borrow yours. Look of thunder, no. But let's see. We can put them on and see if you can get anything out of them. So he straps us into a set of Northumbrian small pipes. And I could seal the fingers, seal the drums, and could just about take one finger off at a time. Very first time I touched them.
Fair play.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was impressed. It soon became apparent that the lessons weren't going to work particularly well for me. But we were friends, and he took me everywhere. I mean, he took me out to one night. He went from Bolton to Skipton because there was supposed to be a session in a pub, and he thought it would be good for me. In the very early days, he made me play my pipes with all 3 drones turned on.
Oh my
So it
Lord.
was sucking a lot of air.
Yeah, that's
I sat
difficult.
in the Queen's Arms in Rothbury at a session, and I played my drones for 3.5 hours.
Oh my good God.
Because it would be good for me. No chanter, just the drones.
Do you know what? That's like the Karate Kid, you know, wipe on, wipe off.
Yeah. So the lessons weren't formal with Adrian. They were not so organised, but the experience of being with them and seeing other people and learning from his vast knowledge was really good.
Yeah.
So although I was playing reasonably well, I don't think I've ever been a good piper, and that's not a false modesty. It is. When it comes to music, in order to be good, you need to apply yourself to it. And I have never been good at applying myself to one thing. 2005, met Susan, and we just got on so well together. Neither of us were living in the northeast. Susan was in Northampton, had been in Lancashire. I'd returned home, and we both wanted to return home. And we met on the tour, got together on that tour on New Zealand. Went back for another holiday in 2006. In February 2006, I proposed on the flight over on Valentine's Day, and we got married on Susan's birthday in Blenheim on South Island. And we were all that time discussing and planning, how do we make this business work? How feasible is it to make a living from it? Because there was nobody else doing anything like it.
Yeah.
And it was pretty clear that we wouldn't be able to make enough for one person, for 2 people. We might make enough for one person, but even that was a bit iffy, so we looked at other things we could do in the way of work. So the end result was we formed Northumbrians and Pipers. So that started then, 2009, and we kind of continued all the way through from, I think 2010 would be the first pipe course held at Whitley Bay, just by happen chance. When COVID happened, we immediately set up a Zoom session, although none of us had any experience of Zoom. And the end result was we set up a Zoom session with as many as, I think, 50 people at one of them.
It's been a wonderful way of pivoting and finding new ways that's actually shown that there was a need for it.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
an interest in it.
Yeah. My regret about the piano lessons, and to which the piano incident,
The piano incident.
Yeah.
Screening soon at the Simony.
Yeah. Was that if my mother had had the patience to wait, I think I'd have come to music in my early teens.